discuss our experience in first year and, what you guys might have to look forward to and some advice that we think would be useful for you guys to take on board and to make the most of your first week, first year, first time at uni. So I'm joined by the lovely Anna. We have Nawal and then we have Kirsty as well joining us today.
So hi everyone, it's really cool to be here today with my friends from We Are Medics. My name's Anna, I'm a final year medical student at King's College London, and I'm also the lead of the SDocs programme at Medics.Academy, which is a support programme for medical students between their first and penultimate years, and also medical student societies.
Hi everyone, it's lovely to be here today. My name is Nawal and I'm a fifth year medical student at the University of Birmingham. I'm also part of We Are Medics. I'm the director of content and I'm really excited to be speaking about what I wish I knew as a fresher.
Hi everyone, I'm Kirsty. I'm a fourth year medical student at the University of Birmingham. And I'm also the founder of We Are Medics. And I'm really excited to be talking to everyone today about life as a fresher and sharing some of my advice with you all.
Okay, so I think the first question I want to ask is, what were you most worried about before starting medical school? And I'm going to take it away with Nawal, I think, first. Let's see what she's got to say.
Brilliant. Hi, thanks for your question. So I would say the thing I was most worried about was probably making new friends and trying to settle into a new environment. For me, it was the first time moving away from home and with a lot of new independence, which can be really great sometimes. It's also really easy to miss your family and miss your old support network. So that was kind of what I was most worried about. But when I came into university, it took me around a couple of months to settle in, but it was so worth it in the end.
Perfect. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think the biggest thing is, thinking, how am I going to make friends? Like, who am I going to hang out with? Who am I going to walk with on the first day? But I'm glad that you definitely felt the same thing, because I thought, oh my God, it must just be like my problem. I'm getting inside my head. But it's interesting to see maybe Kirsty will have something similar. Hopefully it's not just the two of us who felt quite nervous about all this.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's worried about making friends and settling in. And I think that that's only going to be probably a bit worse this year with everyone not being able to mix so much and maybe being more limited with who you can be friends with. But yeah, I mean, I definitely felt that going to uni.
Yeah, that's true as well, because obviously now you've got that difference, you've got to keep up with the restrictions and things like that. But I'm sure that the universities are going to be doing these sort of virtual events or things that you can do without meeting people face to face to get that friend interaction and just to get the same uni experience, but it will just be different mechanism. What do you think, Anna? What were you really worried about before you started?
So I think something that you guys haven't touched on, I definitely totally resonate with all of the stuff that you guys have said. I came straight from school into uni, so it was all very new, new place, new people, new kind of day-to-day life. But I think the other thing I was really worried about was a lot of people had said to me oh, when you go to medical school, it's going to be quite competitive. There's going to be loads of people who are obviously super smart and know what they're doing. So I think I was a bit worried about some of the academic work, about falling behind. I go to King's College London, which is a really big medical school as well. So I think I was just a bit worried about kind of being quite anonymous and just part of a huge kind of group of people. But actually it turned out really well, and I think having such a big group of people, it's really nice because there's so many people that you could be friends with. You're always going to find someone that you get on with if there's 400 other people in your year, right? So I think that's the benefit of going to a big medical school.
Yeah, I didn't actually think of that, but now that you've mentioned it, I do remember sitting at home and worrying oh mum, it's 360 people in the year. I'm literally not going to make any friends. I don't know how I'm going to meet people. I'm probably not going to see the same person again. And she honestly had to remind me, you went to a sixth form when there was 1,000 people in your year and you're worried about the 400. But I guess it's just different, isn't it? I think especially during the build up, you just think of all of these different things that, oh, this is going to go wrong, or how am I going to do this and how am I going to do that? Because you've got nothing else to occupy your time but like the anticipation. But I think once you're there, you just realize all of these things, like, it doesn't matter. They all fit into place and they happen without you thinking about it. Okay, ladies, now I'm dying to hear about everyone's first week. Even in my own like year group, I know we all had like a completely different week. I was literally exhausted by the end. I'm gonna be real, like I was so fatigued. I think the only time I had like I was more tired in 1 week was like intense like skiing, you know, wake up at 7:30, go to bed at like 11. It was crazy. What about you guys? Like, how was your first week?
So honestly, now that you mentioned the fatigue, I remember feeling so exhausted. Like I had barely gotten much sleep because it's Freshers Week and everyone wants to meet each other and go out. And then also with medicine in my university, they decided to make a lot of welcome lectures in the first week compared to all the other university students. So we still had to be in at like 9 a.m. But obviously everyone was also trying to get settled in, meeting their flatmates and, you know, talking till late. So I remember being so fatigued at the end of the week. And also, there was also a lot of like social fatigue for me as well because like everyone's in such a rush to meet each other and get to know each other because everyone's in the same boat, everyone's in a new place, like it's very exciting and there's an adrenaline rush. And on the weekend, just like sitting in my room being like, oh my goodness, I want to be alone. So my first week at uni was definitely very, very tiring. I remember that our lectures would start at like 9 a.m., but I'd also be up all night speaking to my new flatmates and speaking to new people. So it was very tiring, but also very fun. I definitely felt also a bit unsettled, like leaving home for the first time.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I think I felt, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my first week at uni probably was like probably one of the worst weeks I ever spent at uni. I think there was so much pressure. At least I felt a lot of pressure that Freshers Week had to be like the best week of my life. And if I hadn't met all my best friends and I didn't go out every night, then I kind of failed at it. But I was feeling really homesick, and like Noelle, I had loads of content being delivered at the med school, and it wasn't a good week.
I'm really glad, Kirsty, that you like said it how it was, because I know that loads of people say, you know, Freshers Week is going to be the best week ever. Like, honestly, don't even think about it. It's just going to be amazing. You go out every single night. And I remember, like, I was genuinely so drained. Like, I think I went out, or, you know, I was, yeah. And I think someone, well, even if they haven't mentioned, you know, the social fatigueness, like putting on a smile and like actually like communicating with another person takes so much energy out of me. Like my battery levels just drained and drained and drained throughout the day. But I know I literally during the week I had to take a day off. I was like, sorry guys, like you all go ahead. I was relieved that they were all going to go out, and I was like, I'm just going to stay in bed and I'm just going to like use this time for myself. But I remember feeling really guilty and really bad, like, oh my god, you know, are they not going to want to be my friend now because I took a day off? And I was like, honestly, you need some, you know, you time. And she's like, sit, relax, like let things sink in. And like you said, Kirsty, like, you know, you do get homesick, and like I don't know, it sounds silly being like, oh, I literally left home like 4 days ago. But now I won't text my mum for like a day and I'm like, oh my God, what's she doing? Like, miss you. How are you? Anna, what was your first week like?
Just meeting so many people in such a short space of time, and they all just like blur into one, and you're like, I don't even know, I can't even remember if I've met you before, and then it's going to be awkward if we have met and you remember and I don't. And I feel like you have this like, there is quite a lot, I felt a lot of pressure to like be my best self, you know, and like be my best self all the time, like be my best self socially, be my best self like academically. And you know, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, exactly as you guys are saying. I think definitely like you need to give yourself time to process what's happened, because it is a huge upheaval. Like there's so many changes happen in your life like that so quickly. I think kind of the opposite to what you guys said. My uni didn't really deliver that much content in the first couple of weeks that I was there. I remember thinking like, how med school is like not as busy as I thought it was going to be. They just had a special program for during freshers. But actually, in some ways, like that was quite tricky because you had so little to like kind of load the day around. Like you would maybe have like one session in the actual med school per day for the first 2 weeks, and I was like, I just don't know what to do with myself.
Well, I was gonna say, Anna, you know how you said about that awkwardness, if you've met someone and they recognize you but you don't remember their name, I've got a perfect trick, okay? So what I do is I get like a third party and I sarcastically, I'm just like, oh, this is my friend and I'm Babby and you are, and then they introduce themselves, but they think I'm doing it sarcastically, but I'm actually genuinely like, please say your name, please introduce yourself. Or I'm like, go on, meet each other, and I'm just there like, remember the name. Okay, what name are they going to say now? But I remember my first week, I literally counted the amount of contact hours Birmingham gave us because it was so much. And I think it was 35 hours in my freshers week. Can you imagine? And then I'd come home and all of my housemates, the girls, they'd gone swimming together, they'd done this together. And I remember feeling like a little bit excluded. But then I looked at the weeks to come and I was like, okay, there'll be less of it, you just have to get on top of things, and I'd spend the evenings with them. But I remember like getting really like anxious, the girls are really gelling together, I don't have that time to like spend with them and put the effort in. But in the evenings when everyone was back and I'd finished my 15 hours of uni lectures, I'd come back, knock on everyone's door like, come on everyone, let's go cook, let's go eat, like a bundle of energy, which is probably why I had extreme fatigue come literally like the third day. But you know what? It's fine. It worked out well.
I remember in my first week, I did my laundry for the first time at uni, and there was like a special room you had to go to, and it was like a big industrial kind of setup. And I put my laundry in one of the washing machines, and you could go leave it for like 2 hours or something. And I came back and I couldn't find my laundry, and I started crying. I went back to my flat. No. I called my mum. I thought, like, what is uni? Everyone's gonna like steal my clothes if I'm 5 minutes late to the washing machine. And my flatmates took me back to the laundry room. They were like, no one will have stolen your clothes, Kirsty. Like, you need to calm down. And obviously my clothes were like still there. And it was, I think that kind of sums up how my freshers week had been going.
Oh, I actually think the first time I did my own laundry in first year was like mid-November. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd just literally like get the train back and I'd be like, hi mum, here's all my stuff, take it please. But that was one of the reasons why I picked a university close to home. But my mum loved it. She was lavishing it. She'd like message me during the week like, hi, do you need stuff washed? You can come over this weekend. I'm like, yeah, I think I will, mum, thanks.
I remember thinking like, oh, I understand what my mum means now. Like this whole looking after yourself and keeping, keeping yourself alive, cooking for yourself, doing laundry, like it actually is hard. Like it's difficult to find the motivation to do it as well, I think, when you're really busy.
I think it's like when you're not used to it, then it's a bit of a shock to the system. Like you actually have to think about like dinner. And then by the end of first year, I remember like going home and just like it was such a big change for me because I was like, I'm so used to just like looking after me and myself. And then like having that like sharing responsibilities with family, that was also a huge like adjustment for me. So I definitely think it's more of like, it's not a sign of incompetence if you do feel like in the first month that you're just really struggling to like think about food, think about like your budgeting, think about like bedtime as well. Like it's just an adjustment reaction. It doesn't mean that you're like you're too young for uni or you're like immature for uni. Like it is literally just a change. Because when I came back home at the end of the year, I also felt that change, like, oh, okay, like I have to now share my things with my family, or like my personal space isn't as much as it used to be at university. So like if you do find yourself struggling in terms of like gaining that independence, like that's very natural and it's definitely not a reflection of yourself.
Okay, so basically to sum up the 4 different first weeks we had, so it is normal and absolutely okay to get social fatigability, and just in general at the end of the week you are going to feel really tired. That's because you've got a new environment, you've got to look after yourself now, which you might not have had to do as much at home. All of these new things you've got to get used to. You've obviously got to go to medical school. That's one of the big things. But in general, don't feel worried that the first week has to be like the best week or you've got to meet your best friends there, because as Kirsty mentioned, that wasn't the case for her, but she's had a great year since then. So that first week is going to be really tiring, but like get it into your head beforehand that it's going to be like an exciting but draining week, but then afterwards you're going to build up that momentum, you're going to pick up that speed, and the energy level should hopefully get higher. Okay, now I'm really looking forward to hearing this. So what I want to know is everyone's best part of their first year. It's like the best memory or the best event or something from their first year. So I think I want to start with Anna. I want to see what was your best memory in first year?
I think passing my exams was a highlight in second year, because that was a bit in question at the time. So that was a really good day when that was a really good day when I found out that I passed my exams, because we have some quite tricky, sort of very anatomy based exams at the end of our first year of med school at King's. Actually, they've changed it now, so no one goes through that anymore. That was like really affirming for me, because I'd spent a lot of my first year a bit kind of unsure about whether I maybe wanted to be in medicine. And I was having spending a lot of time like questioning like who I was and stuff, which I'm sure everyone does when they go to uni, go through that kind of transition. But I think passing my exams, and I just kind of felt like, okay, yeah, I am like good enough to be here. I passed my exams. I passed them quite well, even though I wasn't confident that I was going to pass them at all. So that was a really, really good day. I think that was probably my best moment. That sounds like a really rubbish one, doesn't it? I bet you guys have got some really good ones. Kirsty, what's your best memory?
I really like the period after we finished our first year exams. So at Birmingham, everyone stayed in their uni accommodations for about a month after we finished exams, because they had some like professional development activities which we had to be there to complete, but they were really chill, like maybe 2 or 3 hours a week. So everyone was in the city, but we didn't have any work to do, basically. And that was such a nice kind of time to spend with people, because it was at the end of the year, so you'd already made all your friends. You could spend like proper quality time with people. We went on the whole first and second years at Birmingham, we all went on a trip to Gower, which is in Wales, and we camped on the beach. It was just like a really wholesome, nice time.
Oh, I remember Gower. Great times.
Well, yeah, I have to agree. That time after first year was an amazing time for me, because it was actually like during the time when I was like fasting as well, but I had to stay in university. And during that month of fasting, like I was really like scared. I was like, okay, but my family aren't with me. What am I gonna do? But luckily, like my local student union held like when you break your fast in the evenings, they held it at the students union, and it was so nice. Like there were like hundreds of people there, and like loads of students, and actually people from different courses as well. So that's how I met like all of my friends from like who are not doing medicine. We all broke our fast together. Like I remember me and my friend would like prepare desserts during the day to bring to that big fast. And there was this one night, it was like an interfaith like iftar, like breaking your fast, and then we had like all these different people come. We had like speeches, and I really, really enjoyed it. That was like the best time for me. I also had like a couple of friends who had cars, which at the time is like a really big thing, because when you're in first year and then you have friends who have cars, it means like you can go anywhere. So in the evenings we would like go out to eat, break our fast, and then go out for desserts, and like go to all different restaurants. And because like you kind of had to stay up till morning because you had to like pray, we just like it was amazing. It was an amazing time. And it was so free as well, because we didn't have that pressure of work. So like you guys, I was so scared of passing my first year exams.
Yeah.
I did. I know people who didn't, and that's like very, very normal and very natural. I think like it's more difficult for a lot of people because it's getting used to that. And I remember working way more harder in first year than actually many other years, because they're just getting used to the learning style.
So I'll round off with my experience, but I don't think mine sounds like, now thinking about it, like I don't think you guys are going to find it as like fun as I found it. But I think like one of my favorite memories from first year is I met my best friend like say maybe like 2 weeks after freshers. And basically we were in the same class together as well, but she's just hilarious. And my favorite memory is going back to first year. I think we literally had a half day. We were both so exhausted. We went back. She lived in the ground floor and I lived in the same block of flats, but floor 4. We like walked into her room. We started watching a comedy show. I can't remember his name. Jack Whitehall. I love him. Jack Whitehall. We started watching his show and we both just spontaneously fell asleep and had a nap. and then we woke up and then we had to go back to our lecture at 3 p.m. That's just like my favorite memory from first year, because it just sums up everything that I did. Like, me and her would just be hanging out together. We'd spend all day just sort of coasting by, not doing much. We wouldn't be able to tell you what we did during the day. We'd like stumble back, have a nap, wake up, oh my god, okay, we need to get back, like, okay. And that was just my whole first year. But Anna, when you mentioned actually that the best time of first year was results, that is so true. I remember being so nervous, being like, what if actually, I was just good at A levels or GCSEs, like maybe university, it's so different. But I remember during the revision period, I was trying to like be someone I wasn't, like copying my friends and how they revised and stuff like that, because it gets to you when you're in the library and everyone's, writing things down. I like to read things, but it looks, I don't know, I always feel like people are looking at me when I'm just sat in the library with a laptop and just reading things, not even typing or not writing anything. But so I was really nervous about the exams and the results to see, like, did it actually pay off? But then getting that like reassurance, like, no, like you said, you do belong here. It's fine. You've gone through it. And then we had, like Kirsty said and Noelle said, we had like this like month of beautiful weather, like friends, your flatmates. I was saying to them, like, how do you do this life of like 16-hour week? I'm loving it. I don't know what to do with myself. I was in the kitchen, like baking things. But yeah, I just think in general, I've got like a nice first year, sort of the memories are flooding back, but it is just naps and coasting for me.
Yeah, I think you've made an important point about like having a bit more freedom during the summer. So I don't think I really realised when I first started med school that once I got into like clinical year, so third to like fifth/sixth year, there wouldn't be like that much time, like summers and stuff. But my first year summer, I had a really, really nice job, like working on a day camp for like little children, which I really enjoyed. And I think, yeah, just make the most of those long summers, like be that if you want to, rest and chill out, or you want to get a job. But yeah, just I think definitely try and make the most of the time that you get. And it sounds like you guys had an amazing time.
When I got my long summers in pre-clinical years, I couldn't wait to come back to uni. I actually really did really end up missing it. And I was just sat at home being like, there's nothing to do. Like, yeah, I definitely went, like, I remember like my first year was definitely very rough in terms of like settling in, making new friends. It didn't take me until a long time before I like found like my friendship group and like all of like the people who I really clicked with. It didn't take me for a long time, but once I actually like came back home, I was sat there like really missing uni. So definitely, and like when I went to clinical years, I did find that I was also able to still meet up with my friends, and because like with placement it's a little bit more flexible in terms of timings compared to lectures, that I actually got to see my friends a lot more, especially during third year. Whereas first year was definitely like I was filled with a lot of anxious feelings about like trying to pass my exams. So I think I just really overworked in first year, like just to like try and get things. You don't know what the pass rate is, you don't know like what's a good amount of work, what's the standard. But as I got through the years, I was like, okay, now I know how much I need to work and how much work-life balance I need. But yeah, definitely in terms of first year, like those memories, like just hold them really, really close, because like you only look at the really good things and make sure they're really good.
Okay, so in general, I think Noelle said it perfectly. Make the most of your first year, because come the future, you're only going to remember the great moments. But I just, even like the little things, for example, me, like I just remember all of the film nights I had with the girls in my apartment and my flat, and it was just brilliant, like Noelle said as well. I think it's really important that, I think we all touched on it, that during the first year, because it's new, the surroundings, the exam style, you don't have anything to compare it to. You might start doubting yourself, or, you might be pushing yourself a little bit too much. So it's really important that you try and find a balance, and you remember that you've come all this way, like you are incredible to get to this stage. Like, have some faith in yourself, because clearly the medical schools have faith in you. That's why you've been accepted. That's why you're in the position you are. But try and enjoy yourself. But make sure, obviously, you're balancing your time well. But I think it comes like as a natural habit, natural skill, once, you've gone those few weeks at uni. So just, yeah, don't worry too much about it. I think it will all fit in place. Okay, now I think we can all agree that our freshers experience, obviously we're different to each other, but this year it's going to be a whole, different kettle of fish with COVID, the restrictions, like everything changing. So what I want to ask is, what advice would you give to those starting medical school this year amidst all this sort of thing going on outside, but also just, what would you almost say to yourself?
I think it's a really good question, and I guess all of us have experience of doing sort of online learning from this year, and I think the most important thing I would say is just genuinely like be kind to yourself, because it is really, really different, and I think a lot of the staff members are also going to be kind of figuring it out as they go along. A lot of the people in the older years are also going to have these pressures on them. And it's really like you're really not alone. Like everyone is confused and anxious, I think, about what's going to happen with COVID, and also about doing things online. And I know that it can seem, I think what I hear from people I speak to is that the main worry is about socializing, because we know that like learning online, whilst maybe not ideal, can be also really good for some people who maybe are less able to travel and things like that. So I think it's the social aspect that really worries people, and I totally get that. And I think something that has come out of the whole lockdown thing is the joy of the Zoom quiz. I'm sure that the freshers Zoom quizzes going on across the country, and it is really intimidating, like I think, to go on a Zoom with like people who you don't know, who you're, again, like trying to be your best self and trying to find friends and stuff. But I would say just try and be like quite open and, put yourself out there and like, input into conversations and stuff. I've been to a few like Zoom networking things recently that have worked really well. But there's nothing worse than like an awkward silence. I mean, there's nothing worse than an awkward silence in real life, right? So it's exactly the same on Zoom, like when you're all like sitting there in a room, like someone needs to speak. So yeah, but I think everyone, just to remember that everyone's in the same boat. I mean, Kirsty, I know that you guys at We Are Medics have done so much stuff, like really useful stuff for aspiring medical students and medical students online. So yeah, Kirsty, like what advice would you give?
I think my advice would be probably to try and take it offline as much as possible. So I know that most unis are hoping to place people doing the same course in the same flat. So I think that's a really good opportunity if you're lucky enough that happens, that works out for you and you end up staying with other medics in your flat. I think trying to form good friendships and bonds with those people would definitely kind of be the first thing I tried to do. I also know that the COVID restrictions don't apply to education. So if you've got small group teaching booked as part of your course, then you'll be able to go and meet people face to face. So I don't know why people would skip small group teachings, because we're not going to be able to go out and get drunk anyway. But I would not recommend missing any of them, because I think they'll be really important in helping you meet people and make friends offline. And maybe if your university is allowing the library to be open and you can go and socially distance in the library or in the medical school to study, I'd also probably try and do that. What would you say, Noelle?
Like everyone being cooped at home, it can really affect your mental health as well. So definitely do try and like take things offline as long as you're like adhering to the guidelines. And there's no reason why you still can't meet people offline, as long as you're like meeting, for example, outside and in a socially distanced environment. And honestly, first of all, like, congratulations for like getting in, because honestly it's been a very tough year, very unpredictable year for everyone. As I say with like Anna, like, please don't beat yourself up. It's a very unique situation for everyone. But yeah, socializing, like, don't be afraid to like join those Zoom calls, like join the societies, like branch yourself out, increase your surface area to make new friends. By taking up all the opportunities. And then also with people that you feel like you kind of click with, don't be afraid to like ask them out for like to like go out for a walk, or like maybe meet, because I remember on my campus there were like a lot of green spaces, so there's no reason why you can't sit outside, do some work together, especially if you're in medicine and you're kind of worried about work as well. You can always work with your friends. So there are ways to go around the current situation. You just have to be a bit creative in doing so, and just do whatever feels natural to you. If you do feel like you want to like go meet people, or if you want to stay cooped at home, like there's nothing wrong with either of those. Just follow your intuition and you'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's such a different time to be doing things, anything, even if it's new, even if it's old, because you get into a habit. But even if it's new, you've got this added sort of pressure or restrictions, things that, might be confusing. But I think, as everyone has said before, like, just be like open to all different experiences, different things to do, like have this open mindset, because as you guys know, like every 2 weeks, like a new rule comes out, or relaxations happen or increases happen, but you're all in it together. And it's not just your year, it's every year, it's every med school, it's the whole nation that's in it together. But I know that if I were to tell myself something, I would say make sure you like jump on all these exciting opportunities. Don't be like scared because it's new, or you might not like it, or you're not good enough at the sport, or you don't think you're the right level. Like, just go and try it out. And that's the same with, if they're doing sort of, Noelle mentioned, maybe they're doing some sort of like exercise club outside, you all go and socially distance and, do like a HIIT class together. Like, I think that would be just so much fun. But then again, like some of my best memories are just sitting inside, chilling with my flat. So like Kirsty said before, make sure, you try and get to know different people. You've got a lot of time to do that. Take use of online and offline experiences. And like everyone said, you might get a bit of cabin fever if you just stay in your room or in your flat 24/7. So if you have the opportunity to go to med school for small group teachings, definitely jump on that. Abide by the instructions. If you have to wear a mask, make sure you bring that. But it's a great place to even just, the 5 or 10 minute walk might be refreshing, a different change of scenery. It changes your mood, it changes your day. So that's what I would sort of say, like, just remember to be, be happy with the changes, like just go with them. Everyone's in it together. You can moan about them with your friends, but like, as long as you do it together, it's sort of like you're not being singled out, if that makes sense. I don't know what the people listening to me moan think, but I love it. I have a great time when I do it, and I feel wonderful after. So, ladies, one final thing I'm going to ask you. If you could give one tip for anyone watching about Freshers Week, anything, whether it's, what it's going to be like, or how to approach it, how to tackle it, or first year in general, please tell me. Let's start with Kirsty.
Don't put pressure on yourself to meet expectations, whether that's socially or academically. Give yourself the first semester to settle in without telling yourself what it needs to go like.
Definitely look after your health and put your health first, whether that's your mental health or your physical health. Make sure that you're getting a decent amount of sleep every night so that you can wake up and take in information and also get a good work-life balance. And definitely try to eat well and try to just follow your intuition when it comes to needing rest from the activities that come with first year.
I think I would say, don't be afraid to be like active about asking people if they want to be your friend. Like, you can literally say to someone, like, we're getting on, we're clicking, do you want to be my friend? I think it can be really difficult. Yeah, especially if you are like meeting people online, it can be difficult to know if they are like interested in being your friend. So yeah, just be active about it. Ask them.
Don't worry about, so it's sort of like what Kirsty said, don't worry about your first week, your first month, your first year. Because every single year at med school, I think last year was incredible. How on earth am I going to top that? And then the next year comes and it smashes the other one out the park, But I only say, like, keep your friends and the people that you've met in first year, like, close to you. Because as Noelle mentioned previously, she still makes time for friends that she met, whenever. And one of my best friends is from my flat, and I've not seen her since, 1.5 years ago. But I still keep in touch with her. I don't see her, but, we'll message, we'll call now and again. But keep those people close to you because, they were a big part of your life for a year. And, almost like the scariest part of your life. So just make sure you, like, keep making new friends and connection. But don't forget those people who helped you at the start and, like, those connections you made before. But that's what I'd say. And enjoy yourself. So just to summarize everything, we've gone through, you know, the highs and the lows of freshers and first year in general. But what I'd really love for you guys to take from this is that this 1 week doesn't dictate how the rest of your year is going to go. If you're really tired because, you know, you've gone out every single night, or you've, you know, tried to make the most of every opportunity, that doesn't mean that, you know, the rest of the year you're just going to be drained. That first week is going to be intense. It's because it's new, it's a new situation. Make sure you try and get yourself out there, push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zones. But it's okay to take rest. You're there to learn, you're there to have fun, you're there to grow as a person. And it's a really exciting journey. So I'm excited for you guys. I wish I could turn back the clock, but it just gets better on every year, I think. So just take it as it comes. And congratulations. So guys, please make sure that you go and follow the We Are Medics page on Instagram and Twitter. What can you expect from us in your next, you know, in your first term? So we're currently getting ourselves over on TikTok to show you guys some videos, what you can expect as a clinical student, and maybe even what you can expect as a second year student, you know, looking ahead sort of next year. And with the brilliant S-Docs, so this is a program specifically aimed for first year medical students like you, and this is the first event that they've done, so hopefully you've really enjoyed it. I don't see why you wouldn't have. Make sure you go subscribe, you check out the other events that they've got going on, and yeah, they're going to be great help for you in the next in the next sort of few terms to come during your first year. Help get the ball rolling, give you the support that you might not be able to find at the moment, but they're a great place to look at, so make sure you do those things for me.